demilitarization, the presence of various draconian laws that has been in practice. Now, there has been talk of repeal of the AFSPA Act or even amendments in it, wherever it is in place, and so on and so forth. But do you think anything concrete has happened in this?
I don't think, I mean, at the time we are discussing the issue, I think the latest news pouring in from Srinagar is that the state cabinet which met today could not reach to a consensus on the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, after you know that there was a lot of commotion which was happening for the last 2-3 days when Umar Abdullah said on October 21st that he would order the repealment of the act from certain areas in Kashmir and Jammu. And after that, the Ministry of Defense expressed its own reservations, and yesterday only the Congress, which is the main ally of National Conference in the coalition government, they said that they have not been taken into confidence. So I think as of now, one can conclude very easily that all the parties were playing to the galleries as far as the withdrawal of AFSA is concerned. I think talking about the AFSA and its withdrawal, there is no denying the fact that withdrawal of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act is very important to allow people of Jammu and Kashmir, and especially Kashmir Valley, to breathe. Because the way the AFSA has been misused by the security forces in the past 21 years to cover up their own criminal acts, I think it's time that the people who have been responsible for those grave human rights violations like Pathribal encounter, Ganderbal fake encounter, and many other cases, I think it's time that they should be brought to the book. So for that matter, I mean, wherever the operational duties they're discharging, AFSA is a cover-up for them, and AFSA has to go in that sense. But I think the larger problem in Jammu and Kashmir is the strength of the troops on the ground. The deployment of the troops is very important to be addressed, because unless and until you thin out the troops, you send the troops to the barracks, I don't think you can expect in a situation where people can say that they are free and I mean their movement is free. If you look at Srinagar, Srinagar has no problem, it's a normal place in that sense. But if you go to the rural areas, to the countryside, the situation is very bad, and there is, I mean, I would say that easily that the number of the troops who are on the ground are disproportionate to the requirements on the ground, in the backdrop of the statistics which have been released by the Home Ministry only yesterday, that the violence level has dipped to a very great extent, militancy is on wane, infiltration is on decline. So all these factors, when you look at them, I think there is no need for so much of the troops on the ground.
So, is there any consensus among the mainstream political actors for demilitarization?
I think demilitarization has been a long pending demand of not only the political parties across the spectrum in Kashmir Valley, but largely the people have been demanding this. I don't know, I mean, but unfortunately the mainstream parties like PDP, National Conference have been using this as an electoral plank, and they have also been using it to appease a political vote bank for that matter. And obviously the separatists have this on their agenda. But I think largely the people in Jammu and Kashmir do want that if at all the peace has prevailed, which I believe is not, I mean, permanent kind of a thing, because peace in Jammu and Kashmir is very fragile. Any situation like muscle fake encounter, I mean, that can kickstart another round of unrest in Kashmir. So I think in order to gain, as Professor Wani was rightly saying, that there is severe trust and confidence deficit between Srinagar and New Delhi as far as people are concerned. So in order to actually regain that confidence and trust vis-a-vis the state, I think it's very important that the measures like the withdrawal of the draconian laws like Armed Forces Special Powers Act and misuse of the Public Safety Act by the state is very important, and the thinning out of troops is also very important. Though the larger problem of Jammu and Kashmir is a political problem, and unless and until you really come out with a solution to address the political problem of Jammu and Kashmir, which is about the determination of the future of the state, I think that's a very important issue. But at the same time, I mean, obviously the human rights violations have been the biggest source of irritation and biggest source of problem in Jammu and Kashmir.
Just before I get to the political problem, there is also the issue of reparations for various crimes that have been committed by both militant and the state actors in the state. Apparently, the state Human Rights Commission recently recommended that DNA profiling should be done of bodies found in unmarked graves. Surely that is an issue you think that that has to be taken up immediately.
I mean, certainly it is very important that an indigenous native institution, State Human Rights Commission, has come out with a report. And remember that State Human Rights Commission also was under cloud for a great deal of time since its establishment. Not only that many of the reports that it produced were not implemented, but because of the fact that this entire institution of State Human Rights Commission did not have necessary infrastructure to work freely and fairly on Jammu and Kashmir state. Now, this time it has come out with a report. It is very important, I mean, before we start addressing other dimensions of Kashmir, that on the internal track, we find that how these issues related to disappearances, abductions, killings, fake encounters are essentially taken up. I mean, it is expected of a country which obviously is considered as the largest democracy in the world at this point of time, that Indian state provides the necessary what is called as the larger environment for State Human Rights Commission to play its meaningful role at this point of time, so that these cases are taken up. There are other suggestions, for example, that Truth and Reconciliation Commission should be established. But that entire thing is in the public domain. There is a lot of discussion going